So, question to all of you. Did any of you highlight something to do with the business people, the managers, the bosses, something to do with those people out there? How many had sort of a bit of a problem with that? Yeah, that's at least half of you, maybe more. So why do we even want that support? Why do we need buy-in? Can't they just sort of approve the budget, you know, and shut up the rest of the day and just give us, you know, what we need to do this job? Why is that essential? So we want to know, as risk practitioners or security practitioners, we want to know what is the risk appetite and the risk capacity of that business. You can't tell people that as a security person. You need to know how much control do you have to implement, how far do you need to go, when is it good enough, when is it not good enough. Only the top can tell you that. If they can't articulate what they're accepting in terms of risk, what is actually acceptable levels of threat, for example, whether it's security threats, particular risks, if they can't articulate that, you'll be flying blind. This is what's happening all the time, right? And because if we don't articulate to them what they even need to be asking, we're not doing our job. We're not actually telling them how to even think about security. So it's not about the information. It's not about training senior people what security, all the ins and outs, AI, you know, machine learning, data security, all this stuff. It's not about that. It's about teaching them what questions they should be asking. It's all in the quality of the questions they ask, yeah? So that hopefully that the risk appetite and capacity made some sense, right? So the next question is, what language are they then speaking and what is the rock in their shoe? That's how you relate to someone. When you start a relationship with someone, what you want to know is what motivates them. What's their things that you can relate to? We need to do the same with that board, yeah, with the executive. First of all, the absolute first thing that they will think about most likely is probably something to do with money. Whether the risk translates into a financial threat or whether it creates an opportunity, they will think in financial terms. Yeah, so if you can translate a security-related risk into, for example, this security risk has a 5% likelihood, and in that case, it will cost us an average of 100 million euros. That's the type of language they would like to see. Not you running in there going, oh, it's all going to be bad. We need to invest because everybody else is investing in it. That's not a structural approach, right? Yeah, so you'll be flying blind if you go that way. So I think that's one way to do it. The other thing is the reputation, the brand. The board and the executive, what they're trying to maintain is what they've been built over decades. They know it can go down in a day. That's the kind of language you want to give to these people. You could maybe say, based on a recent case study, we know that security incidents that are not under control within 2 hours can incur a loss of 10 to 20% market share. Something like that. And sometimes it's hard to quantify, I know, but you have an attempt to it. And don't make it 13% because they'll shoot that figure, right? But if you make it a bit of a bandwidth, you have between 10 and 20%, for example, that makes sense. Do your research. Next one, governance and compliance. Nobody at the board wants to be hit by the regulators or by, you know, the auditors or anything of that. So failure to report a cybersecurity incident is illegal and the board will be held liable for that. Plus we will lose our license to operate. That's the kind of lingo that starts resonating with these people, you know. So if you can't translate that, the daily things that you do, into those sorts of terms, you'll find that disconnect. Okay, so who knows why a car has brakes? Why does a car have brakes? Come on! Adrian, come on, tell us.
So you can drive like an absolute maniac.
So you can drive faster. Naturally, we all think control, slow it down, you know, make sure we have, you know, we can reduce the speed, we can make the car stop. That's the perception that the board and the executive have of all the stuff you guys are doing. The lady from Peru yesterday said they want to innovate, they want to sell more stuff and all that. They don't want us to turn up and say, oh, you can't do that because it's so risky. So that's one of the things you want to make sure you start instilling in them. If you don't have these controls, you can stop growing today. You know, you can't grow that business safely if you don't have those foundations. So if you do these things like security, data protection, hey, it enables you to grow the business safely. You can go forever then. You know, that's the language they want to hear. They don't want to hear stopping and slowing down. It's boring, you know, and it doesn't actually help them with their KPIs, their targets, etc. So we want to also play that role ourselves in demystifying security. To the board and the executives, I now run sessions to not-for-profit board members to ask the right questions about cybersecurity. They have no idea what to ask. They don't actually even dare to ask, even if they have a pretty good clue, because they think they might sound like an idiot. We need to help them feel comfortable to ask those questions, as I mentioned earlier. The cultural bridge is the first one. The age gap is the next one. I mean, they see all these, sometimes, not well, we're all kind of looking a lot more mature. Some of you are looking very young, though. But you know, there may be a massive disconnect between the board, their age, their culture, what they do all day long on the golf course or whatever, we're drinking their champagne, and the cybersecurity team. There's a huge gap. So even get that conversation happening. The board tend to know, though, their own disabilities in this. That sounds a bit strong, right? But they tend to know we need to talk to these young people. They need to help us with this stuff. So help them feel comfortable, you know, and make that so maybe a basic training session, the top 3 questions and answers or something basic, you know, where they can start getting comfortable with that lingo. All right, next one. Just seeking a bag of money to neutralize a fear is not sustainable, because tomorrow there may be another fear, and they'll feel, oh, there's the security people again with asking for more cash. You know, that's not how they want to run the business. Very important. And we talked about the silver lining, you know, having an age gap. They will actually respect young people too. Another thing is that Gen Z, the millennials, I've observed, and some of you are here, you have sometimes completely unfounded confidence to walk into a place with lots of senior people and just start talking like I'm standing in front of you guys here. I find it amazing. When I was younger, I'd never have that courage. But these young guys, it's like they have this kind of thing. So maybe you've got that in your business. Use it. Use the energy. Use some humor in it. Get this dynamic, you know, get some conversation. Another trick I wanted to share is use business models and tools that they use. The business doesn't use checklists for ISO 27001 control objectives. They don't use that sort of thing. They use this kind of thing, where they look at the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats in that business, and how can they match them to make opportunities. One example might be the method, the market for Internet of Things. You know, you might say, hey, we've got a great opportunity as a business to use that market, to step in there. It has some security aspects, though. Bring the physical security guys along, because Internet of Things is a bridge, right, between information and physical security. Now you've got a bit more of a united front, you know, to actually say, hey, we've got an opportunity as a business. Another one might be certain threats that really affect board members or executives. Whaling, spear phishing, stuff that could end up in their inbox, that they actually authorize the wrong payment, or their staff do it because of an impersonation that they're supposed to, you know, approve some sort of payment. This is affecting them. What's in it for me as a person? Do I want to look like an idiot because I didn't understand any of this risk? No. You know, so that's one other small trick maybe you can apply. Then strengths, you might see, hey, we've got a great internal culture as a business. We can collaborate on security. Let's make a think tank type thing. You know, I often use stories from the news that day or something in the morning that everybody talks about, some cyber attack or something. And then during the day at lunchtime, we bring everybody in a room, bring your lunch, talk about this particular threat. How would it affect us? Or what plans do we have? You know, that makes it practical. And they start being less in this, you know, the mystification modus. And the next one is that this won't happen to us. If that's the mentality of that business, translate that to what does that do to your security awareness and the threats to your, you know, to your security. So you can maybe use that sort of business model to translate to the security aspects. So they start seeing, hey, you actually understand a little bit about how we deal with this business. Okay, next one, strategic discussion partner. This is just the sort of top 10, I think, tips. Can you please roll them, if you don't mind? So place yourself in their shoes. First, really understand the business. How many of you have actually read either the annual report, the corporate website, who have actually looked at some of those core strategic objectives of a business? Yeah, some of you have. Great, congratulations. Do you think many security people actually make a habit of this? We've been indoctrinated by the PCB. That's why we do it, you know, because we understand, hey, there's a process going on and we need to talk to the business. But a lot of people don't do this. Avoid lingo and acronyms. Yeah? Where you think AI is a very common concept, a board member may not have a clue what you're talking about. So you've already lost their interest. A picture or metaphor can say 1,000 words. You know, we talked about the shoe, you know, the car. Seek one or more individual security champions. This is a real magical thing that I use a lot. I always know there's one or two of those people up the top who are a little bit more minded, you know, already my way. Okay, maybe we can talk to them offline, think about a strategy, how we can approach that board. And then with their help, we already have a bit of buy-in. You know, there's always some. There's always some that have a friend whose business just been attacked or something, so they might have a little bit more buy-in. Avoid the FUD, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt tactic. So take the less obvious road, translate into opportunities, rather than just saying, oh, we need to protect because otherwise we're going to go down, you know, into the dungeons. The sixth one is present and report in a concise but powerful way. If you give updates on a security threat that is evolving, for example, first thing you want to tell them is facts, not the fluffy stuff, what might be, what could be, whatever, what could you have done. Facts, or new facts. Impacts of those facts, and recommendations. Now, if you're doing this on a BAU basis, you might also add things like a particular cost involvement and then the added value. But in a real incident, you stop at those first three. That's the sort of reporting updates you want to give. You know, you don't want to make the endless stories. Okay, number 7, express the benefits of your idea or request in decision makers' priorities. So we talked about those 3 priorities that they have. Whatever you're trying to get from them, trying to translate it into that. Number 8, benchmarking. This does ring a bell, though, to them if they know what other people in the industry or in their geographical area or whatever, you know, in their city are actually doing. So that may be something that can help you as well. Competitors is an interesting one there. Provide concise, fit-for-purpose training. I mentioned the top 3 things they need to know. That kind of stuff, not the endless stories about, you know, the documents. Find ways to involve top management in simulation tests and exercises. You know, that can be the humorous, the fun part. They're all actually just people as well, right? They're board members, but they also go to the toilet and they also need to get dressed and they also like a piece of chocolate and whatever. They're just normal human beings. So engage them in a bit of a fun way as well. Now, this is also important if you don't have a CISO or a CRO, if they're all kind of just one management level down, all these risk and security people, try to build a bit of a united front think tank type group of people that are all the what-if people. The people who think what could go wrong. You know, that's us, yeah, the risk, BCM, DR, those sorts of practitioners. And then find the best ways to resonate with that board. Maybe if you have a group of people, maybe you can get more ideas, you know. And integrate security in the operational tactical processes. This is often a challenge, but it could be a question in any project. Hey, is there a security implication? You know, it's just to create some awareness here. So present security as a business enabler with you as the bridge, the facilitator, the translator. That's, I think, your mission. So, final slide. Share with maybe another person around the room what could be your one action you can take out of this. Was there anything in there you go, actually, I could probably do something like that. So have a think about it and chat to the person next to you and share some thoughts on what might work for you. Off you go. You can choose the same person. You can choose a friend, no problem. The one action you can take home. Okay, can we hear from a few people? Who wants to share a little thought or something that you go, yeah, this will work, or something that you think could be applied? These guys are already negotiating. What were you guys talking about? We want to know. He says, oh, I'm the board member. He's the guy who's doing this. So can we get some sharing? John, you might get a mic up here. Yeah. What did you learn about how to approach this guy, you know? We've got a whole simulation going on here. Thanks.
Well, he was the boss. He was the boss. He's the boss, and
he was. You've already taken over.
No,
I didn't say take over from the board, right?
He's still the boss. So I said to him, what I would do next time is, you know, try to review the way I present the issue to him, you know, and avoid making him feel fearful. Yeah. You know, not coming with details or too much information, you know, that would make him to be scared.
There you go.
But present the facts, and like you said, the financial advantage, reputation, and make recommendation.
You're doing everything.
I think. Yeah.
Wow. You're taking on 7 tips. Awesome. Anyone else who would like to have a little sharing to say, is this relevant? La peruana.
Thank you. Well, for me, it's really important, or like the main takeaway is always think or understand what is their goal, because sometimes the word they don't want to hear is no, you cannot do that. So if you understand what they really want, what is their goal, or what they want to achieve with this, then you can try to embed your idea as well, or your goal, this keep security at the end. And this way you can all work together. Yeah. So even if you know it's not the best way, just don't say no. Just say okay, let's
just say how can we
it.
do this rather than we cannot do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's what they want to hear, not see you as a stopper of the business, because they will do it anyway. They want to implement something new. They want to innovate. They want to create new products. You cannot just say no because you are not working with the business then.
Yeah. Well, plus they will not listen to the rest of it. And if you at least say, that can be done, but we need to do it this way, I think, so we can achieve both. That kind of thing they like to hear, the win-win. Yeah. Yeah. Great, thanks. Yeah.
Just to add a comment, we should avoid to be the department of no, and this is sometimes how security is appears in the company. Something I will take with me is the image of the break thing. That's something that speaks immediately to the people, and so that's really something I will take with me. And something an exercise that we are doing is to show, okay, we spend a lot of money, but we're also making a lot of money saved for the company. Like when we're taking action, like putting a good life cycle management, we help the company gaining productivities, and it saves a lot of money to the company. And adding all those bullet points at the end of the years, the cybersecurity does not appear as a cost, but as a good return of investment and a good way to save money within the company. Yeah,
you would have heard Michael in the previous session talk about that as well. Really turning that. One more comment, I think we have.
The break story was nice. I found it too. I have the luck that my management team is already well aware of the things. So discussing do I put myself in my shoes or into their shoes? The idea is that I do not have to give them a message anymore. But when I pass them a message, then they have the message and they do not know what to do. So if I can do something today, that was the exercise, is maybe giving them the message they can pass to the team.
Yeah, so the train-the-trainer type thing.
The break story will not be to them, but to their people.
Good one, exactly.
For the frustration and then the rest for the no answers we could give.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, often in a practical way, you can make maybe a couple of slides, that they know, okay, this is going to be presented by all the managers to their teams. And your story is not going to be blurred, because maybe you have only 3 things you want to tell everybody, and you can give them that in a practical way, and they can modify it. So absolutely great. Well, I really enjoyed doing this. Thank you for allowing me to break in, but I just thought it was a bit of a missing link, we're all knowing what needs to be done. Now, how do we actually get it done? So that's hopefully was of interest to you.